to Tracy Momey Reads. I'm Tracy Momey, and I read and review books. So I initially started a hashtag on Instagram, hashtag Tracy Momey Reads, and now I have decided to start a YouTube channel so that you can get the reviews live and in living color. You're welcome. So I'm going to be doing something a little different. At the end of every review, I'm going to be doing a dream cast, because whenever I read books, I don't know if you're like me, I tend to imagine the book as a movie. So the entire time I'm reading it, I have these visuals in my head of what the characters look like, where they live, what it looks like, their houses, their cats or whatever. So at the end of every book review, I will be doing a dream cast, telling you or showing you who I think would be perfect if they were to ever make that book into a movie. The first book that I'm going to review for 2021 is a book that joined a Facebook group of readers, of women that read. And the first day that I joined, there was this book that people were talking about that I'd never heard of. And when I went to Amazon to read the blurb, I just immediately put it in my cart. That, and not to mention it was on sale. The hardback copy was only $10. So I was like, I need to read this book and find out why a woman would shoot her husband in the face 5 times. And that book is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Pretty sure I'm butchering his name, but it's there, Alex Michaelides. But The Silent Patient, yes, and this book actually came out, I want to say, let's see, when did this come out? 2019. So it came out in 2019, so I guess I'm late to the party. But anyway, I'm just going to read this little blurb of what, maybe put this in the cart and be like, I got to figure out what's going on here with this book. I need to read it. Alicia Berenson's life is seemingly perfect. That right there is a red flag. A famous painter married to an in-demand fashion photographer. She lives in a grand house overlooking a park in one of London's most desirable areas. One evening, her husband Gabriel returns home late from work, and Alicia shoots him 5 times in the face and then never speaks a word. Okay. Now you tell me you wouldn't have been like, bye. Like buy as in purchase, okay? I am someone who loves the idea of human psychology. Why we do the things that we do. Why we say the things that we say, like human behavior, maybe is what I should say. And so I'm always intrigued when I read books that have a psychological aspect, or as a plot mechanism, there's a therapist involved that is trying to get to the root of one of the main characters or one of the secondary characters' issues. I'm an author also, and 3 of my books, you have a therapist that my characters talk to. Because like I said, I just like delving into the human psyche and what triggers us. And there's this quote in the book that the author uses from Sigmund Freud. And it says, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Because everything pretty much, just like as you find out in this book, is based on something that happened probably in our childhoods. And it's just like unresolved trauma that has manifested in horrible ways. In this particular book, it was also touted that there was this big twist that you wouldn't see coming. And I am notorious for reading books and, oh, I know what it is. Oh, I know where this is going. Oh, I know who did it. And this one, I have to say, it really threw me for a loop. The majority of the book is spent, the author spends time familiarizing us with a therapist by the name of Theo Faber. He has taken it upon himself. He's intrigued by the whole case involving Alicia shooting her husband. And she's sent to, instead of like going to jail, she's sent to a psychiatric hospital because, they've deemed her incapacitated in some way mentally that she couldn't really stand trial. So she's sentenced to go to this psychiatric hospital. And so Dr. Faber is a psychiatrist, and he's just, you know, chomping at the bit. Like, this would be, I guess, a career making thing if he could get this woman to talk. So, you know, he abandons the job that he had, and he goes and he starts working at this hospital, and he wants to be on her case so that he can figure out what's going on. So midway through the story, I started to realize there's two stories taking place here. You know, there's this parallel, like, because we're learning so much about Theo's life, and through snippets from a journal that Alicia was keeping, we learned kind of about her life and what led up to the circumstances of the night in question. But for me, those, like, they're two separate stories. You know, I never ever imagined that they would intersect at any point. And that's why I guess when, you know, spoiler, when the twist happened, I was dumbfounded. I mean, I literally closed the book and just like stared at the wall, like for 2 minutes. I'm just like, okay, what did I miss? And, you know, I'm going back to pages. And sometimes, you know, when authors do that, it's kind of like far-fetched, you know, like, there's no way, because you didn't even tell us about that person. You're just making up something now. This is just a convenient plot twist. But no, this one, it really made sense, and it really was good how, you know, he worked that in there. You know, my only complaint about the book is, I don't know, I just, like, after the twist was revealed, I totally thought it was going in a whole different direction. And another spoiler, I suppose, is, you know, I thought that there was going to be some absolution for Alicia, because I'm like thinking, oh, well, maybe she really didn't do it, or what's going on with this, or whatever. But, you know, no such luck for her. But yeah, it ended a little weird and abrupt for me. But at the end of the day, I mean, I guess, you know, all the characters were kind of haunted by their past and things that had transpired, and even the quote best among us are not, you know, are susceptible to flying into fits of rage and things like that. So it was a really good book. I actually finished this book in one day. It was I got it like on a Thursday, and I think I finished it on New Year's Day, like that. New Year's Eve was Friday, so it must have been that Saturday I finished it. And I mean, it was a really easy read. And like I said, because the subject matter was something that I was interested in, like psychology of it. But I will tell you that it does start off slow. I mean, I was more than halfway into the book, and it pretty much was just standard, you know, him going to the hospital, and, you know, we're reading stuff from her diary, but nothing like nail biting or anything had happened. And there wasn't even that much suspense at this point. You're just kind of figuring out what happened that night, why she shoot him. You know, you're still looking for those answers. So it does move kind of slow in that regard. If you're looking for something that's just going to grab you right out the gate and keep you, this one you're going to have to sit with for a while. And it's to me, it's a lot more cerebral reading towards the beginning until we get to that twist. But I would definitely recommend it. Again, The Silent Patient. And when I went on to Amazon, the book was like, this hardcover was $10. So I don't know, you know, what it's going for now, but it's definitely one you should add to your list. And now for my, I'm gonna have to get my notes over here. For my dream cast, if they were to make The Silent Patient into a movie, and I have no doubt that at some point it probably will be made into a movie, just because it seems like a lot of New York Times bestsellers, or even not New York Times bestsellers, popular books, you know, that you see on Instagram with book clubs and book groups and stuff like that. It seems like a lot of them are headed to, you know, Hollywood or Netflix or wherever to be made into films, because they were such fan favorites with readers, which I have to do a whole nother YouTube video what I think about that. But anyway, so the role of Alicia Berenson, if I were the casting director, I would, even though the story takes place in London, I would cast Jessica Chastain as Alicia. I think she has the, there's something very stony yet vulnerable about her. She can play the tough chick, but also someone wounded. Gabriel, Alicia's husband, I would cast Henry Cavill in that role. I mean, he's British, and the way that he was described in the book was he was so handsome and chiseled and all this good stuff, you know. So there's that. Theo Faber, Dr. Faber, Benedict Cumberbatch was the first person that came to mind because there's just something kind of affable and awkward about him, but also he's very intellectual, obviously, and very smart, a little self-conscious and insecure, and I just feel like he kind of embodies all of those traits in some of the roles that I've seen him play. Then Dr. Faber's wife, Kathy, I would cast Rose Byrne in that role. He was a little uptight, and she was kind of like the polar opposite of that, teaching him to kind of live a little. And yeah, there were other like secondary characters that were in the book, but I didn't really have. The only person I thought would be a good, let me see, there was a orderly at the psychiatric hospital who was a mess. He was real protective of Alicia, but he was also doing some stuff he shouldn't have been doing. His name was Yuri, and I can't remember if he was from the Ukraine or I don't know, because I don't want to, show my ignorance with geography. But it was some European country like that, and just because of the type of personality that he had, I don't know why I see Sacha Baron Cohen in that role. But yeah, it was a great book. I would watch the movie, and if you get a chance, check it out. Thanks for watching, and make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel and tell a friend. Bye.